Okay, in problem number 7, it says the bolts of a cylinder head of an engine require tightening to a torque of 75 newtons or newton meters. If a wrench is 28 centimeters long, what force perpendicular to the wrench must the mechanic exert at its end? And then the second part we'll consider here in a moment. Okay, so here is the wrench, and it's pivoting about this end here, and of course the nut is, or the bolt is providing a counter torque a certain distance away, but I'm not really looking at that. I just want to know what the torque is from the person providing the force here. So it says that the person has to exert or cause a torque of 75 newton meters. So the torque has to be equal to 75 newton meters. That's going to be the force on the wrench times the distance, which is 0.28 meters, and that's going to be equal to 75 newton meters. That means the force on the wrench is going to be equal to 268, approximately 268 newtons. Now for the second part of this, it's going to be the same idea. It's a much smaller lever arm, and I'm going to try to draw this. Okay, so there's that. Not bad. Okay, so this distance here is given as that 15 millimeters. Okay, 15 millimeters. So then you should be able to figure out what half that distance is. So in other words, from here to here, that should be pretty easy to figure out. Also, I want to draw this triangle in here for a second. If there are 6 sides here, and I didn't do too bad of a job, but if there's 6 sides and there's 360 degrees altogether, you should be able to figure out what this angle is. And you take 360 divided by 6, and you should get an angle of 60 degrees. So then if we make the triangle up here, and just specifically look at this triangle over here, this angle there must be 30 degrees. So I know this length here is 7.5. So this angle, or excuse me, that length right there on that side is 7.5 millimeters. I know this angle right here is 30 degrees. So that angle right there is 30 degrees. And I should be able to do some trig to figure out what the hypotenuse is. I'll just call it h. So I know that the cosine of 30 degrees should be equal to 7.5 millimeters divided by the hypotenuse. And I see that I made a slight mistake here. This should be millimeters. So then I can solve for this to figure out what h is. The hypotenuse is going to be equal to 8.66 millimeters, or 0.00866 meters. So now I'm going to do the exact same equation again, or for torque again. and that's going to be the torque is equal to 75 Newton meters, or meter newtons. That's going to be the force on the bolt times the distance, which is 0.00866 meters, and that's going to be equal to 75, which means the force on the bolt will be equal to 75 Newton meters divided by 0.00866, approximately 8,660 newtons.